consciousness, culture, and a connectivity to the divine creator.
There you go. So it's more than just melanin, huh?
Oh, yes, that's more than just melanin.
I'm tired of black men calling us melanated men.
Because everyone has melanin. Everyone has melanin. So when you say melanated beings, for me, that is a very integrationist approach to identity, because everyone has melanin, even Europeans. Of course, they have the lowest dosage of it, but even they have a degree of melanin. So when you say melanated beings, who exactly are you including or excluding? Because all humans have melanin.
So let's start right there, because I know might end up a lot of different places. But for me, it is very important, particularly in moments of duress,
yes, sir,
and assault, to be very clear about who you are,
yes,
and who other people are that should be on your team,
yes,
and who's not on your team.
Define
That's why
words and the out-group
matter to me,
yes,
right now. They always matter. But
yes,
when you're under assault, when police officers are shooting you indiscriminately, when you're shooting each other at epidemic levels, where everywhere you go, people are blocking your advancement because you are black, it becomes essential for me to hone in on who's black, who's on my side, and what does it mean.
I agree.
So why do you think it's important that we focus on black, number one? And then number two, when black people advance and become Negro, mm-hmm, you know, I hate to use advance and Negro in the same
yes,
kind. What is it? What goes on in that psyche that makes them now see the people that they came from as adversaries?
Well, number one, I remember something that Dr. Redmond Battles used to say, former President General of the UNIA. He would always quote from James Allen, "As a man thinketh," and there's a statement that says, "The condition doesn't make the man, it reveals him to himself." So when a black person from the ghettos of North Philadelphia suddenly becomes educated and then changes their consciousness, their identity, their value system, and their goals, I would argue that they were never really committed to the people in the first place. See, it's easy to be black and proud when you're broke. Do you understand? But when you become educated, when you become financially comfortable, now being black and proud becomes a serious burden that you have to willingly accept, because no one in the upper echelon of American society is interested in being associated with black folks who are black and proud, which is why the higher you go up the social economic entertainment ladder, the lower you tend to represent your community.
So now let's talk about it, because I think about the work of Fanon, I think about Amos Wilson, I think about Francis Cress Welsing. I mean, we have voluminous work of people who've studied the psychology of black people, be it those of us who are at the lower end, the wretched of the earth, or as we advance, how we end up being used by the very system of oppression to oppress our own people. And I'm in the city of Philadelphia, man. I'm born, raised, bred here. I didn't expect to come back and live here, but I've been here for a long time, and continuously since '89. And I look at this city, man. I look at the potential of the power. I mean, I tell people all the time, I've traveled this country, and I know you've been around the world. You're not going to find a consolidation of quote-unquote black power that we had over the last 20 years, when you had, you know, black mayors, black police chief, black this, that, and the other, and yet delivered so little for the masses of black people. Like, I don't think we understand how our ancestors are likely rolling over in their graves when you determine that under a black president, at the same time you had a black mayor, that you had black people in power positions all throughout the city, and yet their people are the people at the bottom of the pyramid in the city that they oversaw. How do you get to that psychological point? Number one, the people who perpetrated it, but number two, us accepting that that's okay.
Well, number one, I think black people are very poorly politically educated. We have the Obama crisis, as I'm going to call it, revealed to me more than anything else in the past 20 years how politically uneducated black people were. It showed me how tokenism is still a very effective strategy to control black folks. Just to put black faces in high places continues to be enough for us. A black mayor, a black state senator, a black council person, black president. This is what I always tell people. I'm not looking for a black president. I'm not looking for a black mayor. I'm not looking for a black governor. I'm looking for black power.
Right.
And then they ask me, well, what's the difference between a black president and the black power? Power is the energy that dictates what the president does. What is the difference between black power and a black mayor? The black power will dictate what the black mayor does. And the reason you don't have black power coexisting with black politicians is because most black politicians are members of the Democratic Party, a white racist political institution whose job is to perpetuate white control and domination of opportunities and resources. So if Dr. Umar Johnson wants to be mayor of Philadelphia and I become a Democrat, I'm signing on for one particular reason: to get their approval, their support, their backing, and their financial support. Once I do that, I'm automatically obligated to the agenda of the Democrats, which has never been in alignment with the agenda of black people.
So then that gets me to part two. So that explains to me why people make the deal, the Faustian bargain, the deal with the devil. They're about self. I mean, it's no other way to explain it. They know the consequences. You know, people have approached me about running for office, starting forever. You know, it's part of the thing I try to establish here, and I know you get this a little bit as well. You know, I'm a smart dude. I just am. I have always been smart since I was a little boy. MG, people pulling me out. And being smart and black and male, and then you also got a little cool and athletic. White people are always trying to buy you.
Oh, yes.
I try to express to people, I've walked away from more money to try to stay on the black side of the chessboard than I think most people will really ever understand, because this society wants me on their side.
Oh, yes.
So I know what the power of saying no to that
is.
So I understand now why other people say yes, because I know the deals that they probably cut to do what they do.
At what cost?
We know the cost, and that's the question I want to get to. So I understand the incentives behind the traitors. And they don't even see it sometimes as treason, but I'm going to call it what it is. Why do we tolerate it, though? That's the part to me that my psychological limitations don't allow me to understand why we as a people, over and over again, reward those black people who have betrayed our blackness.
Number one, we're politically miseducated. So we don't know that a black face does not equal black power. Most black people thought Barack Obama being in the White House actually meant we had some authority, even though we didn't. So first you have to deal with political ignorance. We need a serious mass political education campaign that's coming from a Pan-Africanist Garveyite view, not a mainstream Democratic political education. Know your state senators, know your state reps, know when to vote. We're talking about understanding the ways and means of political power. Number two, let's be honest. Most black people do not have a problem with white oppression. Most black people.
Say that two more times.
The hardest lesson I've had to learn, Brother Shamari, the hardest lesson I've learned and the best lesson is the average black person's issue is not with the white power structure. It's the positioning that the white power structure has given to them. And the minute they get elevated to a more comfortable position under the umbrella of oppression, they will accept the status quo.
I want you to say that one more time. Just say it calmly. Because what happened is people are like, I agree with you, but you said it too loud.
Gotcha.
Or I agree with you because you said it whatever. So they'll have a reason. So I want you to say that three ways. Say it loudly, then say it softly, and then whisper it so that whoever's hearing has no daggone excuse why they didn't hear this truth. Because I think we're addicted to masochism.
We are.
And so that's I think it's so psycho-spiritual right now that we're actually addicted to being in pain. But your analysis is a little more practical, so I want you to just say it one more time.
The average black person has no problem with white oppression, white supremacy. Their problem is the position within the white power structure that they have been forced to occupy. And if the white power structure provides them with an opportunity to improve their quality of life, they will gladly accept it and they will co-sign the status quo.
So where do we go with that? I'm not a psychologist, you are. I just play one on the radio. You actually are one. You know, because, you know, I called names before. I think that Francis Cresswellsing, France Fanon, Amos Wilson, Marimba Ani, the Wade Nobles, Bobby, I can't forget him. The list goes on, have grappled with this quandary, because the quandary is in our mindset. You know, again, I understand why people are motivated to do what they do. I'm struggling to understand why we accept what people do and are doing to us. That to me is that wretchedness that we have brought into this idea. And you hear it in church, that this idea that you are wretched and unworthy. And see, I tell people all the time, if my God, who supposedly created me as the source of my strength, needs me to be wretched, unworthy, and suffering in order to access him or her, I ain't got time for that, God. I'm good. I'll suffer on my daggone own terms. I'm not going to suffer in allegiance with my God. That ain't going to happen. I ain't built like that.
Yes. And I think you're speaking to another aspect of this psychological quagmire, Brother Shamari, in that the black church, the black church, the most significant intergenerational institution in the history of black America, is complicit in the white oppression against black people, because what they do on Sunday is so psychologically damaging and devastating to black people's interpretation of their reality. And to be more specific, what the pastor does so effectively is he evangelicizes oppression. He almost reinvents oppression as a spiritual benefit, something that you should be glad to endure, as if having less power, less opportunity, and less resources puts you in a better position with your God. And I think one of the reasons it's so difficult for black people to rise up against racism systematically and structurally is because subconsciously we've been conditioned to believe that it is the meek that shall inherit the earth. It is the poor, you understand, who will be called the children of God. So when you're taught that being broke is a blessing, why would you want financial empowerment?
I say it all the time on here. I say, look, I'm a church boy. I grew up in the church. I learned my lesson. They said Jesus got up on the cross willingly and died for sins. So why do I have to get back up on the cross? Why you got to get back up on the cross? Exactly. If somebody already did that for us, why do we keep standing in line to get back on the cross and suffer when the suffering is? Shouldn't we be reaping benefits from someone? If that's what you want me to believe, at least let me take it to its logical conclusion. He already did that. That was his calling. That's not mine. I was not called to take nails in my feet and my hands. I was not called to take spears in my side. I was not called to hang my head with the crowd. That wasn't my calling. Somebody else did that. So now my calling is to walk in the power that was supposed to have born from me. And so when people act like suffering is our duty, I am saying that you are lying. It's just the biggest lie ever told, but unfortunately many of us are following that lie. And I think that now we're in a city under black quote-unquote leadership where three things are converging, and this is what you're going to talk about in your talk.
Yes, sir.
We have unbelievable levels of gentrification, and the word to me, we just need to call it forced displacement.
Yes. Or call it what it really is: ethnic cleansing.
Ethnic cleansing. we've been reduced to squatters in a city that we thought was a chocolate city.
In neighborhoods you grew up in.
And I tell people all the time, the reason they were able to get to this point with us is because decades before that, they systematically decimated the presence of warrior black manhood in your community through this thing we now call mass incarceration.
Yes, indeed.
And the reason we were allowed to stand by and sit on our hands and accept that is because we have been systematically dumbed down, systematically uncentered through this thing we call the education system, public education in the city of Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit before we go to break about how those three things converge and how we need to see them as a united front in the attack on blackness, not these separate incidents and issues that we need to address.
Imagine this. Philadelphia leads the nation in gentrification, more than Seattle, San Francisco, and Portland. From 2000 to 2013, 57 different census tracts in the city of Philadelphia became gentrified. That's the fourth largest in the country. Black residential displacement in Philadelphia is the third highest in America. Philadelphia is the fourth most segregated city in America, although it's 44% black. That means even though you have so much diversity, Latino, Asian, Arab, Mexican, Jewish, Anglo-Saxon, white folk have been able to dominate the residential zones better in Philly than almost anywhere else in the country. And we must beg the question, not to demonize or condemn them, but with a city council that is predominantly black. How in the hell do you gentrify a predominantly black city when you have a predominantly black city council? I remember 10 years ago, we were told that Temple University would not be allowed to take over the black community beyond 21st Street, I think we heard. Well, guess what? Temple may not have crawled past 21st Street, but the white developers certainly have done so. Right. And then at the same time, Philadelphia talks about how we don't have enough tax revenue to pay for this and pay for that. Well, guess what? They have a 10-year tax abatement program, basically offering any white person who's willing to come in and help them move black people out of the neighborhoods, you don't have to pay no city tax, no school tax for 10 years, which has cost the city $43 million in revenue that you could be using for all these programs that you claiming are falling short. So to make a long story short, Brother Shamari, the city of Philadelphia would rather go broke to let white folks take over the black community. They would rather go broke to make sure white folks take back over the city than use that money as it should be to give everybody an equal opportunity.
And that's why I tell people this is not economic.
No, it's not economic.
When you talk about economic, it's not a market force, because they're making bad economic decisions
on purpose
in the name of upholding racial
privilege, power,
division,
and disadvantage.
And the other thing people never talk about with these tax abatements, by the way, which is why you got to have the conversation of what universities as gentrifiers mean.
Yes.
Because they don't need tax abatements because they don't pay taxes. Exactly. They don't pay property and state taxes.
That's right.
So when you see these banners coming up in your neighborhood, we get it in West Philly with the University of Penn everywhere. University of Penn subsidized housing, University of Penn medical this, Drexel this and that. It's because if that is considered a non-profit acquired parcel, they don't have to pay property tax.
They don't have to pay property tax.
They don't pay state taxes. They don't pay federal income taxes as an institution.
No, they don't.
So they don't need the abatements because their abatements are already built in. And now the developers who are developing on their behalf get the abatements. You have no economic financial rumble here. This is straight up political
domination,
warfare using economics as a backdrop. We're too scared, too masochistic to really address this at the level that it needs to be addressed.
Too tied into the power structure to do anything about it. What I find, Brother Shamari, quickly is so many black folks who could have been of use in this struggle can't do anything because they are so pigeonholed and beholden to white institutions and black bourgeoisies that they're absolutely useless to the black power struggle.
When we come back, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the process, because people have to understand people are socialized. When we did Why Our Children Hate Us, it was trying to show people that socialization is a process, probably the most important process. Whoever controls your socialization, your education, you're coming into being and knowing, controls who you're going to be. I don't think we appreciate the role that institutions, organizations, many of them we think are benign, but if they're directed wrong, they are the engines, the factories that are producing these Philadelphia Negroes who are operating contrary to the collective benefit of black people. Absolutely. Let's talk about the process of the creation of present-day Philadelphia Negroes when we return. I'm Eric Keith Grimes, Brother Shamari, joined in studio by my good brother, Dr. Umar Johnson. And we're talking about the Philadelphia Negro, the convergence of gentrification, incarceration, and miseducation as it relates to the decimation of the black community. Talk to you after these messages.
Word family. Here's a deal from Dietz & Watson that you don't want to miss.
This week, visit any Brown ShopRite to take advantage of the Dietz & Watson beef available at the special price of just $8.99 a pound. Try out the all-new natural Angus roast beef or the Dietz & Watson corned beef. Both are on sale now through Sunday.
1 week only. Get yours today. Dietz & Watson. It's a family thing. This is Word Radio, independent black media. The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org.
It's time to start cracking it, cooking it, toasting it, Canadian bacon in it, stacking it. In other words, putting a freshly cracked grade A egg into every Egg McMuffin so you can start Independence hauling it, waterfronting it, and love parking it. We get cracking so you can too. For a limited time, get our famous Egg McMuffin or Sausage McMuffin with egg for just $2 each. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Offer valid until September 1st.
We see you and we want to help. Don't give up hope. West Health System is here to support you in your recovery. Our innovative Passages program will help walk your teen out of their addiction and into a brighter future. For more information, call 215-456-2626 and visit our website at www.drwes.org. West Health System, providing hope in our communities.
Join Word Radio Friday, June 28th for the annual Word Wellness and Food Festival at the Fresh Grocer of Monument Road. And take advantage of our special early bird membership drive. Start or renew your 4-Word membership between now and June 28th, and you'll get a discounted rate of just $75. Join the 4-Word movement today so you can protect and preserve independent Black media. Call 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. We'll see you on June 28th.
Mosque number 12 presents Should Black People Consider Separation Town Hall Meeting, Friday, June 21st at Triumph Baptist Church, 1648 Hunting Park. Separation, reparations, a panel discussion with Dr. Montero, Attorney Michael Court, and Minister Ava Muhammad, National Spokesperson of the Nation of Islam. The meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. this Friday, June 21st at Triumph Baptist Church located at Germantown and Hunting Park. Don't miss this explosive session on separation. For information, call 215-228-6044.
You're listening to The Shamari Show, hosted by Brother Shamari on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Black Talk Media.
And I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black.
And welcome back to the Shamari Show. I'm joined in the studio, and we're getting black up in here with Dr. Umar Johnson. We're going to continue our dialogue this segment, but I'm going to open up the phone lines in our following segment. So if you want to give us a call, hit us up at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. I'm going to hit on a couple points. Sure. Then I want to come back to that convergence of gentrification, incarceration, miseducation. Yes. Then I want you to talk about the event you have coming up. That really going to go even deeper into that conversation and the role that the Philadelphia Negro plays in allowing that convergence to really just run roughshod over the black community, man. And how we continue to forgive that, I never know. But the policy decisions that people who are stakeholders in the systems across this city have had to either ignore, act like they didn't see, or be complicit with, that allowed the decimation of black manhood, womanhood, and familyhood at epidemic levels. We really need to embrace the fact that it is systemic, intentional, and we sat by and were complicit. And now we're wondering why our children are destroying each other, why violence is epidemic. We're wondering why we can't sustain the black family. We're wondering why, but we sat by and watched 50 years of this in the making. And I think it's an utter hypocrisy for us to act like we don't understand what's happening in our city right now. But before we get there, I had this thing about celebration, man. I think that black people are looking, we've been so defeated that we celebrate a little too much, in my opinion. I look around, we celebrating everything. We celebrating everywhere. And I'm like, yo, we still in the rumble. You know, we talking about everything that's coming against us. I don't say we don't need to celebrate. But to me, if you're celebrating, you're not strategizing. You're not prioritizing. And you're not sacrificing at the level necessary to win the struggle that you know you're in. I'm just wondering your thoughts about this balance between celebration and recognition and affirmation versus strategic, disciplined work.
I totally agree with you. And I would add, to underscore your comments, is when you celebrate in the midst of a struggle that you're losing, you're basically creating the falsification of victory. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that, because that's what the church does. Okay, it'll make people who are on the bottom feel that they're on the top by manipulating emotions and imagination. What is the tool of the pastor? Emotions and imagination. What is the tool of the politician? Emotions and imagination. What is the tool of the entertainer?
Right.
Emotions and imagination.
What's the tool of the con artist?
Emotions and we have to stop letting people manipulate our emotions and our imagination. And a lot of that, Brother Shamari, deals with the fact that we don't really know our history. So if you knew your history, they wouldn't be able to manipulate certain emotions and imaginations. I'll give you one. Being in the field of education, everybody celebrated the Brown versus Board 50th back in 2004. It was a real big thing here in Philadelphia. And I'm like, do you guys realize that 20 years later, in a Supreme Court decision, Milligan versus Bradley, the Supreme Court almost basically overturned the Brown decision by saying you couldn't force school districts to integrate across district. So if Philadelphia is 85% black and you want to integrate it, you can't integrate it in district. It ain't enough white kids. You're going to have to go to Upper Darby and other places when they were white.
Right.
But Richard Nixon's Supreme Court said you cannot do that. So basically the power of Brown was undermined, killed, and diluted 20 years later. But because you don't know your history, somebody will have you celebrating something that in actuality was a defeat, not a victory.
Right.
The other thing too, Brother Shamari, the reason why we content ourselves with these celebrations and these falsifications of victory is because most black people are not interested in assuming the risks or the responsibilities of revolution and liberation. See, there's risk involved in real work. We know the Malcolm stories, the Medgar Evers stories, the Dr. King stories. We know them all too well. Most people don't want that. They don't want that smoke.
Right.
They don't want that smoke. And even if you step aside from the risk, most black people don't want the responsibility, because three things that you're going to have to become accountable for if you truly want to commit to revolutionary struggle for black people. And we're not talking armed struggle. We're talking political, economic, spiritual, educational. Three things. Number one, financial accountability.
Right.
What black person you know is willing to expose their spending habits? Disposable income only. Disposable income, what are you doing with that on a monthly basis? What black person you know is that committed to the struggle where they're willing to be accountable for the way they spend the disposable income? That's number one. Number two, you're going to have to become politically accountable. The decisions you make in everyday life and how they affect black folks. That means we got to talk about why you married to a white woman. We got to talk about why you left the black community and moved to a white one. We got to talk about why your black bank got their money, why your black church got their money in a white bank. We don't want political accountability. We don't want financial accountability. And then we need social accountability. What are you actually doing to affect change in your community? Because I can tell you a big problem I have, being a member of the so-called black consciousness movement. I know you follow. Have you noticed, Brother Shamar, that there's no activism in the black consciousness movement? There's no work. It is all intellectual masturbation and YouTube dollar generation. That's it.
Yes, I've noticed. I've been a primary critic, you know, because my theme here is Kazi, man. I tell people all the time, I've been on panels, people get mad at me. I'm like, look, man, I ain't got time. Number one, you ain't got nothing to celebrate. I don't know if you ever saw this movie, Angry Birds. People keep tripping. I keep telling people to see Angry Birds, man. You got to see this movie. I don't know the bird's name, but he's the bird with the unibrow. He's always mad.
Okay.
And, you know, so the pigs come in, who are the enemies, but the pigs come in with celebration. So the birds and the pigs are celebrating while the pigs are behind the scenes stealing the eggs of the birds. And then the birds wake up from the celebration. They're a little hungover and drunk, and they realize all the eggs are gone. Their children are gone. Their future is gone. So then they like, we got to get our children back. So they got to turn to the angry bird to lead them in their struggle to get their children back. And of course, in the movies, they get them back. But that's where we are, right? And we're celebrating our own demise. We're celebrating victories that we ain't even won yet. Yes. Like, dang, we ain't even started the game. You know, I said it in the book. I said, you know, white supremacy is planning for checkmate, and we haven't even moved our first pawn yet.
Absolutely.
But yet we're celebrating. And so I'm just trying to understand energy. You know, if you're putting energy over here, that same energy can't be used over here. You can't be celebrating and strategizing at the same time. So at some point, we got to get disciplined enough. It goes back to the point you're saying. You got to be disciplined enough to respect the context that you're in and the contest that we're in, if we decide that we want to win. I'm wondering also, going back to this black, I'm on this black thing today. And one of the blackest things for me is the red, black, and green. I think when you understand the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the master stroke of saying, we want to create our own nation, a nation that is international and diasporic in its power and connected. And every nation needs a flag. So the red, black, and green, the Bandera, was created as a national statement of a flag, the nationalizing of a people. I'm looking around, man, and everything is red, black, and green right now for people who have no sense of nationalism, but they promote the red, black, and green. I have a problem with that, and I'm wondering, am I overstating? Am I out of bounds and having a problem with the misuse right now? Everything can't be red, and when the people are merging the red, black, and green with the red, white, and blue, or the red, black, and green with the rainbow. It's like, come on now. That red, black, and green means something. And just like this flag, these American flags ain't supposed to touch the ground. They're not supposed to be made fun of. They're not supposed to be dealt with sacrilegiously. We need to have that level of respect for the red, black, and green.
I totally agree with you. I saw a commercial about a month ago, fast food restaurant. Can't remember whether it was McDonald's, Burger King. They had the burger. The food was on a red, black, and green mantle. It was the flag, and the food was on top. This is not a new thing. They've tried to appropriate the red, black, and green flag for quite some time now. They've tried to capitalize it and corporatize it in much the same way that they've done with the green, gold, and red of Ethiopia. Right. You see, you will see white folks with the Ethiopian flag. You won't see them with the red, black, and green flag. Not yet. Thank God, 100 years, almost 100 years into it next summer, we can say that we've been able to keep the culture bandits from stealing one of our most sacred cultural symbols. But I do see what you're saying. You're not talking about non-Africans who are misrepresenting and approximating.
We're dehumanizing.
We're doing it ourselves, and I totally agree with that. That is a flag that represents African people globally. It is a pan-African nationalist flag. If you are an integrationist, if you're multicultural, if you are for anything other than the total independence, liberation of African people through self-determination, mind you, that you should not be waving that flag. It should not
leave my flag alone,
leave my
man.
flag alone.
I'm serious. I even talked to the President General of UNIA. I was like, look, man, the UNIA needs to declare and get the flag back. It's a flag. It's not colors. It's the flag.
That's
Get
right.
it back. It has a meaning. It has a purpose. I bring this up because I feel like if you lose vigilance on these things, and we have, if you're
will lose
celebrating
vigilance on larger things,
and I think that now because we've lost vigilance, incarceration, gentrification, and miseducation have become norms on our watch that are destroying our people, that we will ancestrally have to be accountable for. Our children will look back and judge us, and they will have every right to do so because we were so busy celebrating things instead of defending ourselves against this onslaught. Talk a little bit about how we got to the point where gentrification, incarceration, and miseducation are the defining dynamics in our community in the city of Philadelphia, and where we need to go from there.
When you did, the miseducation is critical because without the miseducation, it will be difficult to put in place the economic castration. See, in order to render the black male economically impotent, you got to make sure that he's not prepared to earn for himself. So the miseducation breeds the economic castration, which automatically leads to the mass incarceration. And if there's no economics, there's definitely not going to be no land ownership. So the gentrification is more easily affected whenever you have a school-to-prison pipeline. Right. In fact, what did we just see built last year? The largest prison in the state of Pennsylvania's history. They even changed the name from SCI Gradford to SCI Phoenix.
Phoenix, rising from the ashes.
$400 million prison, the largest on the entire eastern seaboard of the United States. Now, you don't have money to renovate the public schools, because mind you, public education is a state right. The states control the schools and the prisons. You don't have money for schools, but you had enough money to build the largest prison on the East Coast and the most expensive in Pennsylvania's history. So it's crystal clear that the priority for black males is not to succeed, but to be exterminated.
Right. And I've been to SCI.
I haven't been yet.
I've been there on a regular basis. Hopefully they'll let me back. I probably should have kept this to myself. But when you want to talk about who's there, it's us.
Oh, yes.
Now,
80%
it probably has more white men and prisoners there because it's nice and they get to be closer to home. But trust me, it's still black bodies, black male bodies that populate that place. Wow. And it, you know, you're talking about something that's only 40 minutes away. You can get there in 40 minutes. You know, so we, again, we're asleep. Or I've come to the point, I don't even think we're asleep. I just think we accept the pain.
The psychology of domination. One thing black people will not admit to themselves. And this is another reason why psychologically, Brother Shamari, the celebrations are so important. Because we need to keep this facade up to each other, to ourselves, into our oppressor that we haven't given in yet.
Right.
And we have. Black people have thrown up the white surrender flag. You see evidence of it all around you. Except for the celebrations, you can clearly tell if you study our behavior that black people have conceded to white domination.
Well, when we come back, let's talk about the role of the Philadelphia Negro, the bourgeoisie, whatever we want to call it. I mean, there's been prolific studies. E. Franklin Frazier, the black bourgeoisie. This is not a new phenomenon.
Nathan and Julia Hare, black Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, this is not a new phenomenon.
Carter G. Woodson, miseducation of the
How
Negro.
do we address it now? Like, what is, because over and over again, we keep giving them the exemption cards. You made a mistake. You knew better. I'm going to re-elect you anyway. I'm like, yo, this dude just literally, West Philly is gone.
Gone.
North Philly's gone.
Gone. That neighborhood I grew up no longer looks like what it was.
It's gone. How many exemptions do we keep giving people who we give the power to speak for us?
And what the bourgeois don't understand, Brother Shamari, is once they use you to get rid of your people, you no longer have enough black people to re-elect you.
District 3.
Once we're gone, you're gone.
That just happened. Last election, District 3.
Once we're gone, you're gone.
Yeah, and they still don't care. They're still addicted to the masochism. So when we come back, talk about the upcoming event you have.
Yes,
give the logistics now, by the way.
Yes,
we can
indeed.
talk about
Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking in Philadelphia for the first time in 3 years. I will be at 2217 North 29th Street. I repeat, 2217 North 29th Street. That's 29th and Ridge at the World's Prayer Center next Sunday, June the 30th, the last day of the month. 4 o'clock, doors at 3. Please come on out, and we're going to talk about this very topic: the miseducation, economic castration, gentrification, and mass incarceration of black Philadelphia.
I'm Eric Keith Grimes, Brother Shamari. This is the Shamari Show in studio with Dr. Umar Johnson. When we come back, if you want to join our conversation, we keeping it black, blacker than black. I don't know, just as black as you can be, because I'm unapologetically Hotep. I'm unapologetically black, unapologetically African. I'm coming with it. It's no backstepping, so I hope it's no backstabbing. Hit us up at 215-634-8065 or toll free 866-361-0900. We'll talk with you after these messages.
It's Lights on Chester this Friday, June 21st at the MJ Free Theater in Chester, Pennsylvania. Join the festivities for a free arts and cultural festival celebrating the past, present, and future of Overtown. Be there to watch the entire Illuminate Chester film series and enjoy the complimentary hors d'oeuvres, entertainment, and networking with local business owners. The street celebration begins at 6 p.m. and the film screening begins at 7 p.m. RSVP today at pahumanities.org/lightsoonchester. What's up, everyone? I know you know the word. No, not the station, but the word. J-O-B, that is. And our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious breads and...
This is a message to you.
Welcome back to the Shamari Show. Message 2 from the Black Man, Temptations. I had never heard that song before, but I was doing a little research. I like it because I'm trying to be black. Blacker than black. We always black here on the Shamari Show, but we jumping into the blackness, man. I'm so sick and tired of this watered down blackness. You know, I remember Malcolm, too black, too strong. We done put so much cream in this daggone coffee that is now milk. It's a straight milk, man. I mean, our presence right now is straight milk, and I like it's so deep, bro, that it's actually now a sin to be a straight back, spine having brother. Like, I gotta justify walking in my black manhood wherever I go, because I live in a cultural reality that has turned the idea of walking as a proud African man with a spine into a sin.
Absolutely.
How we let that happen?
Absolutely. And we're the only people, Brother Shamar, who have to defend our love of self and our commitment to self-determination. I've never seen a Chinese. There's a Chinatown here. Everything's Chinese. You don't even see a black person employed. I've never seen a black person employed in Chinatown. They've never been asked to defend their self-determination as a community. You go to Italy, Little Italy in South Philly. They've never been asked to defend their self-determination as a culture. But whenever black people want to defend our self-determination, we're racist, we're black Hitler, we hate other people. We've never claimed to be anything but proud of ourselves and loving of ourselves. But that's because they demonize blackness. So if blackness is evil, naturally being proud of it is more evil.
So we got a museum, though. I mean, okay. I haven't been, man, but you were talking about this national.
The Smithsonian
Every
National
time somebody
African.
told me I got to go somewhere, I end up like coming back depressed, bro. So I have friends who went. They only got through the first few floors because they went early and it was so crowded. I didn't even know it was 7 floors. So take us through these floors, man, because I'm assuming, and I heard the bottom is all about enslavement, and they say it's a very emotional experience, the first floor or two, because it's we always reminded of enslavement. That's very important for this culture to make us remember that period of our struggle.
Reason they have to make you remember the period of your struggle is so they continue to perpetuate the narrative that it was us benevolent whites who raised you from a state of animalism to sophistication.
Thank you, Abraham.
So there's always a narrative to that, you see. So with the museum, all content has intent. Right. So, with the museum, what is the intent of this museum? If you start in ground zero with slavery, not before slavery.
Right.
We're not going to tell you who they were before slavery.
Nope.
We're just going to start you at the slavery, right? And then we're going to show you how they fought against it, and then we reconstructed America, and then we Jim Crowed them, and then they fought against that. And then the next thing you know, they became Grammy-winning
LeBron James
hip-hop artists and NBA championship winning basketball player. Here's what it looks like to me. We made y'all slaves. We took you out the jungle. We had to put you through slavery to civilize you. We civilized you. But you didn't know it was for your own best interest. So you fought. We gave you your freedom. And once we gave you your freedom, the first thing you did was start making music and shooting basketballs.
So I'm assuming Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James, they got statues and they're well represented.
Oh my gosh. The statues of the entertainers and the athletes are 50 times better than the statues of our heroes.
Now, does Marcus Garvey at least have a statue?
No, Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad share the same little poster that's in the corner of like the second floor that you will miss it if you ain't looking for it.
Nat Turner had a statue, right?
No, sir.
Harriet Tubman got
no, sir.
Stop.
But I tell you who do got a statue.
Who?
And his statue is the tallest statue on the slave floor. Thomas Jefferson has a statue in the slave exhibit. They're literally celebrating a slave master on the floor dedicated to the slavery. It ain't over yet, though. Because once you find out that black people
Mark Vesey had a statue.
No.
Wait,
there was one or two Africans I saw with a statue, but none of them look like the statues of Jordan. They got platinum-looking statues. I don't think it's real platinum. Shiny silver. Venus and Serena. LeBron James got a big screen TV, which is dedicated to all his highlights.
I got to find
Brother, I'm telling
somebody got to have a statue.
To me, it was the most disrespectful thing. And wait.
John Horse had a statue.
None of them. None of them. Now, they got Nat Turner's Bible in there, okay? But there's no statue. How is Thomas Jefferson the biggest thing on the slave? It's almost like they're saying...
Christmas Addicts had a statue.
No, he did not.
Really?
No, he did not. It's almost like they're saying that
all right, I'm stop
Thomas Jefferson was good for black folks.
Of course.
That's almost what they're saying.
You do understand that Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Bill Clinton are like the same archetype.
Oh, yes.
They're the same dude.
Oh, yes.
Right.
The benevolent slave master
through history.
Who hated your guts.
The benevolent kind of, whatever slave master who don't really like you but was forced. So they're the same. Like, I left out the dude, too, the 66 dude, the president, Lyndon B. Johnson. Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and then Lyndon B. Johnson.
And Jimmy Carter got a little of
Jimmy Carter's another one. They all like the same archetype.
But let me get this point, Brother Shamar. I'll be quiet on the museum. When you're all done, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of information in the museum. So from that standpoint, I can appreciate it. But the narrative, I totally reject. So after you're going through these floors, because it'll take you a couple hours to get through it, right? You're going to be hungry.
Right.
So guess what's in the basement? There's a cafe. So when you go down to the cafe, in the National Smithsonian African American Museum that was paid for with $500 million, this is $500 million.
Right.
Guess what they serving in the restaurant at the Smithsonian?
Watermelon.
Fried chicken. Watermelon.
That was my next. Yeah.
Greens.
Yeah. Which is not
pork chops.
I'm saying for me personally, I'm all right. I don't eat watermelon, but
not for a national museum.
That would be
this is supposed to be the official Black Experience Museum.
So if you go to the Jewish Museum in Philly, are they serving bagels and lox? I mean,
well, the question is that a national Jewish cuisine that did not grow out of a forced culture?
Yeah, I know.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm having fun with it.
Here's what I thought they would have done. I thought they would have given dishes from different places in Africa to show what we ate before we showed up.
Yeah.
So then when people took issue with me, because Dr. Leonard Jeffries took issue with me, and I didn't care because I stand on my point.
He took issue with me on everything, too.
And I said, listen, where's the floor dedicated to the black woman's place in our struggle? Where's the floor dedicated to the HBCUs?
Right.
Where's the floor dedicated to all the black inventions?
Right.
Where's the floor dedicated to the fight against police genocide?
Correct.
Where's the floor dedicated to the school to prison pipeline? I can name at least 30 floors that was missing, but the basketball players get their own. And I love Michael Jackson to death, but you don't get that much coverage in a national museum about black folks.
But you do when there's a particular narrative and frame of blackness.
We only
and that's why we're doing the blackity black. You don't get to be blackity black in this context unless you stand on that and are willing to die on that.
Yes.
I want people to understand that. You know, the people think there's some celebrity thing here. There ain't nothing celebrity about this thing, man. This radio show, your platform, man. No, we know what happens.
Oh man,
we know.
It's not easy.
"Quote unquote" reward for this walk.
Yes. What did Garvey say? Blood, pain, death. That's what black leadership is.
So you know, hey, whatever, man. I just we celebrating. I don't know what we're celebrating.
Me either.
And I'm a little nervous. We celebrating. I'm like, yo, I call it premature ejaculation. You know,
True that.
Because it's we used to have this dude here. I think he's back on the Eagles now. I can't even remember. Deshaun Jackson. He was a wide receiver.
I know who you're talking about.
And early in his career, he'd catch the ball and he'd run into the end zone. He always let the ball go before he crossed the line.
He
celebrated before he got the touchdown. And then the other team pick up. That's us. That's why I call it premature ejaculation. We celebrate and emote before we done won anything.
But let me say one thing we did win. I got to say this because it's my first time on Word since we've purchased the school. I want to send a shout out to all my Philadelphia donors who stood by me 4.5 years. You saw all the hate. 4.5 years while we raised money to build the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So I'm here today to say thank you to Black Philadelphia for standing by Dr. Umar Johnson. We finally purchased 2 schools in Wilmington, Delaware. We now own them. They're the former Moyer Academy charter schools in Wilmington, Delaware, and we will be having a cleanup day this Tuesday, the 25th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Anybody wants to come down to Wilmington, see the school, walk through the school, but most importantly, help us clean up the schools in preparation for the contractors to do their job. Because I want the smaller school, which is the Marcus Garvey building, I want to have that ready before it gets cold outside, so I can start preparing for the first day of school, which hopefully will be next August 21st of 2020. So thank you, Philadelphia, and I'm going to talk more about how you can get involved with the FDMG Academy next Sunday at 2912 North 29th Street at the House of Prayer Church, 29th and Ridge, 4 o'clock. Make sure y'all come out. And I do plan to have a bus come from Philadelphia every day to bring boys to the school once we open.
So again, the cleanup day, talk about that, because I'm around people who flip over themselves to be of service when the King Day of Service, going and cleaning up these dirty behind public education schools where they got staff who's supposed to do that, but yet we go and clean up the rec centers that disrespect our people regularly. So you're doing the cleanup for your school.
Yes, sir.
Put the call out again, man, because just as many people who make themselves available to the white people who are dominating our city, who put us to work on King Day of Service, make yourself available to clean up this school that most of y'all said wasn't going to happen that's now here. So, so make that happen.
That'll be 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock this coming Tuesday, June the 25th, Wilmington, Delaware. If you want that address, please hit me up, 215-989-9858. You can text message me, 215-989-9858. You can also email me through the website, drumarjohnson.com, drumarjohnson.com. Continue to send your donations. Donations can be made 3 ways. Number 1, Cash App, $FDMG School. That's cash.me/$FDMG School. Or you can mail your check or money order in payable to the FDMG Academy, 9634 Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Or you can bring a check or money order with you to the lecture next Sunday, June 30th, 4 o'clock, 29th and Ridge, House of Prayer. It's going to be hot and heavy.
When we come back, let's talk about the focus: gentrification, miseducation, incarceration. And let's put in the middle of that the role that the black bourgeoisie and the Philadelphia Negro have played in allowing or being complicit with those three dynamics literally eviscerating the black community here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm Eric Keith Grimes with the Shamari, in studio with Dr. Umar Johnson. We'll talk a little bit more with Dr. Johnson, and then we'll open up the phone lines. So keep on hanging on, and we'll talk with you after these messages.
You got it.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Walter E. Sabbath Jr. Funeral Service is introducing Cremations Are Us by Sabbath. That's S-A-B-B-A-T-H. Cremations Are Us by Sabbath is the result of their 26 years of experience with individuals and families who choose cremation. Sabbath knows that families who choose cremation have the same needs as those who choose burial. Sabbath's new component, Cremations Are Us by Sabbath, emphasizes the wide selection of services they've always offered. Visit their website, sabbathcare.com, for details, or call 215-924-4101.
AffordablePhillyPainters.com. Commercial painting. Hi, my name is Umar the Painter. With 17 years of experience painting and exterminating in the tri-state area, anything that you need for your home improvement, I can make sure it happens at any price and any budget. If you're looking for someone that's reliable, that pays close attention to detail, and is affordable, AffordablePhillyPainters.com. Thug extermination, AffordablePhillyPainters.com. Youth education, AffordablePhillyPainters.com. Come on, say it.
Hey, Philadelphia, it's camp meeting time for Holy Ghost headquarters. This Sunday, June the 23rd, join Apostle Mark Hatcher at the legendary Met, Broad and Poplar Streets. At 10 a.m., wake up and witness prophetess Dr. Connie Williams. Then later, it's a special one-night-only engagement with Dr. Cindy Trim beginning at 6 p.m. This is all part of the Holy Ghost headquarters 30-day camp meeting series. It's 32 preachers at the Met, Broad and Poplar Street. All are invited. See you this Sunday. For more details, check out hghphilly.org.
Word family, mark your calendars and join me, Brother Shamari, for Friday, June 28th for the WURD Wellness and Food Festival, taking place at Fresh Grocer Monument Road. That's 4160 Monument Road. While you're there, start or renew your 4-Word membership on site and get your exclusive membership swag bag, including your very own WURD baseball cap. I definitely want one of those right in your very own hands. Don't wait until the festival. You can do that now. Start or renew your 4-Word membership at any time between now and June 28th to take advantage of our $75 early bird special. Join the 4-Word movement today so you can protect and preserve independent black media and get your health on. We'll see you on June 28th.
Word TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at On Word or on Facebook at 4Word. Word TV. Black Talk Media. We are progressive and proud and interactive. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at On Word. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com.
And welcome back to the Shamari Show. We'll be black. We're getting our black in today. We're getting our black in every Friday on the Shamari Show. But this particular black, what I'm trying to do, just in case people are unclear, we got to draw a line, man. We letting Malcolm, Dr. Honorable Omawali said, put too much cream in that coffee, which what once woke you up will now put you to sleep. And I believe in 2019, we've allowed too much cream, too much water, too much sugar in our coffee. And now it not only is it no longer coffee, it serves the opposite of the purpose it was designed to do. And that's the thing I want us to. You can celebrate too much sugar. You can dilute your stand a little too much. You can placate a little too much, so much so that the civic submission, the masochism, can make you lose sense of your purpose, lose sense of what it means to be black, to be an African man, to be an African woman, to create black and African institutions on a black purpose, a cause, reclamation, redemption, pride, culture. You can lose focus of what that means. And then you can have a generation that comes after you because you've lost focus. You've never passed down to them what it means. And they really are unrooted, ungrounded, and uncentered. And I believe that that's the terror dome we're operating in, where we are now paying the price for the cream, the sugar, the milk, and the water that we've used too much of that have diluted our blackness. And it's time for us to be intentional about course correcting, redefining, and standing on that blackness. Wake up, clean up, clear up, get up, stand up. It's time for us to get serious about that black Philadelphia, because whether you want to accept it or not, our presence here is under duress. It's under question. They have declared in their manifesto that this is going to be a white city. It's going to be for white, affluent people. And you get in where you fit in if you fit in, and your fitting in has to be of service to them, or else you got to go. That's the reality that we're playing in right now. And so we need clear, unequivocating voices with clear, unequivocated plans and actions for us to work through. And one of the things we have to be clear about is just because you're melanated doesn't mean that your allegiance and your consciousness is on the side of your people. And so we have a class of people who have worked hard to deliver this white Philadelphia to white people, even though they have black skin. We need to talk about that because we're getting confused right now about how they play, who they are. So let's talk about that a little bit, brother. Let's talk about what you call maybe the Philadelphia Negro or the black bourgeoisie, and how they've played a role in this onslaught of gentrification, incarceration, and miseducation in our city.
When you look at the miseducation in particular, me being a certified school psychologist, doctor of clinical psychology, I see how black people in the school system who may not themselves be guilty of miseducating or mistreating black children, but who will stand by and not assert themselves at the proper moments to stop the carnage from taking place when it's being delivered by a white person. So many of them would call themselves innocent. I'm not guilty because I don't do it, but do you allow it to be done? So we have to re-engineer the definition of what it means to be a sellout. Selling out just doesn't mean that it was done with your hands. Selling out means it was done with your knowledge. It was done with your awareness, and you did nothing about it. Okay, and then even when you look at our politicians, same thing. You might get one or two who are well-meaning, who do the right thing, but they will stand by and watch 8 of the Negroes sell the whole community to shame and say, well, I'm not guilty. Yes, you are, because you should have exposed the other 8 who are not of your ilk to the community in enough time so we could have replaced them. So being guilty is not just about committing crimes with your own hands against the community. It's about being aware that they were happening and doing nothing about it. The school system is hell, my brother. Special education continues to run rampant in Philadelphia. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this at the lecture June 30th because I need black parents to understand something, Brother Shamari. You already know this. When we evaluate and we classify kids with learning disabilities or ADHD or conduct disorder or mild mental retardation, which is now intellectual disability, or emotional disturbance, these are not scientific facts. These are presumed disabilities. They're presumed.
Based
not
on
proven.
the checklist.
Based on the checklist or scores from a Eurocentric assessment device that cannot prove if your son really has a reading disability.
There's no brain imagery that's happening. There's no cognitive
opinion.
It's literally a checklist. I mean, teachers go down.
Yeah.
There's a check. It's almost like the ACEs scale. This thing
Can he
that
sit
everybody's
still?
trying to do ACEs now.
Is he too hyper?
And you're literally coming to a conclusion that somebody has post-traumatic or some kind of traumatic stress thing.
Based
on checking
and
off
you're
whether
checking
they
off based on your opinion.
I mean, that's all it is, you know. And I tell people all the time, I can literally check off all 9 or 10, depending on which scale you use, factors on the ACEs.
Yeah.
What's that supposed to predict about me? Because it wouldn't predict that I'm who I am right now.
No.
And I know many of people who are the same thing. So what are we signing up for when we think we can reduce your experience to a checklist and then make all kind of assumptions? Open up the floodgates. So that's what I'm saying. Jordan Harris had just used the word domestic terrorism. Anthony Williams just went to Governor Wolf and said declare a state of emergency. These labels matter.
Yes.
They're invitations to deal with populations based on a paradigm that means destroy.
Control of opportunities.
Why? The what? Not the why.
Because in order to, okay, there is the presumption of white superiority, black inferiority, right? Now, if white people were genuinely superior, you would not have to build into the system all of these traps to keep black people from competing equally. So obviously you're not superior, because if you were, there would be no need for the IQ test, because there would be no need to classify blacks, because there would be no need to deny them opportunities.
It'd be obvious.
If they're already inferior, then that should automatically manifest on its own without your help.
Right.
The IQ test, Brother Shamari, has replaced the Jim Crow sign. 60 years ago, if they didn't want you at UPenn or Harvard or Yale, they would simply say no blacks. That's not politically correct. So they took the words down, put the numbers up. So instead of saying no blacks only, they'll now say you better have a 2,400 only. You better have a 1,600. The numbers do the same job as the Jim Crow sign. Keep blacks out.
I'm sure you, or maybe you're not aware yet, that there's this new thing now on the SAT called the community adverse community
index,
score.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like,
I'm still studying it, but I know it's some nonsense.
Like, how do we get to this point as a people where we live in a culture, a country that has now created, number one, they're like, okay, we're aware that this test has biases.
Already.
So to correct what we're going to do is now we're going to create this scale that says if you come from a adverse background, we're going to give you a couple points. We're going to grade you on the curve, essentially.
But we're not going to do nothing about the bias built into the test. Though. You see that? We're not going to do nothing about the bias built into the test. We're just going to give you a couple brownie points.
Yeah, and we think that's advancement, though. Yeah. Like it's grading us on. Man, see, the more I talk about it, and my thing is, I understand it from their end. I'm struggling with, number one, on our end, what we've accepted, which means how we define ourselves.
Paralysis of analysis. It's the paralysis of analysis.
Also, we have a group of people who have decided when they pick teams that even though they have black skins, they're going to work for the white side of the chessboard. How do we begin to deal with that reality? Let's go straight, no chaser to that. We have a group of people, many of them influential. Many of them are either the bishop, the rook, the pawn, what other piece am I missing? The knight. And they should be on the black side of the chessboard. But they're using their positions in service of the white side of the chessboard. And we lose because we think they're on our team, but they're working for the other side. How do we begin to identify and effectively deal with them?
Number one, contradiction. Poor people always look up to people they perceive to be more successful, even if those people are selling them out. One of the reasons it's difficult to get Black Philly to see the sellout for what the sellout is because poor people in any culture always look to their most affluent for direction. So we're competing against a natural human tendency to want to be like those who appear to be in charge. That's one of the problems. So you don't really want to hold them accountable. You want them to let you on their team. Right? And then you're dealing with hopeless people who do not evaluate problems from a collective perspective. They only look at it from a I and me. I'm not concerned with what's going on with Black Philadelphia. I'm concerned about Umar Johnson. One of the reasons it's so difficult to get black people to get to a point of urgency or crisis in Philly is because we're evaluating everything through the lens of individualism. If we were looking at this as a collective we would have been at a state of crisis. I mean, Philly might be in some trouble right now if black people really had a we mentality, but but we don't. And the white power structure thrives off of the me first mentality, because as long as black people don't care about what's going on with other black people, nobody looks at the overall trends. Nobody looks at the overall structure of the problem. Nobody cares about the system of how racism operates, because if I just drop the right trinkets and the right crumbs in the right black person's mouths, they can keep black Philadelphia quiet for another 50 years.
But we're supposed to be the collective communal people, and they're supposed to be the individualistic people. And I tell people all the time, you don't understand power. Power always has to be collective. Now, they might not be egalitarian.
Right. Right. It's not a utopia,
but if you're going to come to the front of power, they have a clear structure and hierarchy about how they're going to divide up the spoils.
Oh, yes.
You know, for every Bill Gates, you got other dudes who was working with him who also got billions out that deal.
Yes.
So white power is always
organized.
It's organized, it's collective, it's not communal.
And it's persistent.
But we're supposed to be the people who, because we're African and black, we're naturally collective. But yet, what I'm like, if we were collective, like you said, we'd be able to diagnose what's going on in front of us and make collective decisions. And we're not doing that. We're so individualistic and youthful. We've been euthanized. Not in that old euthanization word, but really we've been made so immature. Our old heads dressed like our young boys now. It's like, what the heck is this? Those two things are killing us. How did they flip a people who were known for being collective and communal and made us as individualistic and immature as we are?
It started with the economics. Whoever controls the economic opportunities dictates the education, the socialization, the gentrification, the mass incarceration. One of the reasons why it's so difficult to get the black youth to focus in on the black community, the reason why we do not have their loyalty, the reason why it's hard for us to get the loyalty of black people collectively speaking, is because the black community is the only community, not only in Philadelphia, but in the country, that does not provide opportunities for its own. Yep. It's easy for a Chinese boy to stay loyal to the Chinese community. If he need a job, he gonna get one in Chinatown. It's easy for the Italian kid to stay loyal to the Italian community. If he needs some money to pay for college, they gonna find it somewhere. The Catholic Church, somewhere, they gonna get that. The black community is the only community that doesn't have resources for its own. How long are you gonna keep people loyal to a community that cannot provide for their basic necessities?
Why our children hate us 101. There you go. If you want the summary for why our children hate us, that was it right there. You can't control the socialization of young people they have no if they gotta earn money at 15 to support you and your household. What is the sense of their obligation to you when you can't deliver the future? They're going to be loyal to whoever they perceive can deliver the future that's normal, basic human behaviors. Nothing abnormal about that. What's abnormal is that we hand over the future of our children to other people. That's what we have to fix. If you want to join our conversation, hit us up at 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. Before I let you go, man, I want you to announce it again, but I want to go to the phone line first, bring a couple callers who've been holding for a while. Hopefully they're still there. Let's go to line 1, Caller Fat. Greetings, good afternoon.
My brothers.
How you doing?
Hotep.
And most especially to you, I must say, you've done a job well done. And my brother Umar, welcome back, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I just want to say, and I'm not going to take up a lot of time, I just want to make one thing very clear to the listening audience. The repertoire of things that have been addressed in just this last 40, 45 minutes, there is no way, under the current circumstances of the state of this country and the state of affairs in this city, that we can for one moment miss a beat of understanding that everything that's been said today, it is our obligation to step to the forefront, brothers. It is our obligation to step up, mothers. And those who can get together this evening, we need to be making some decisions. Because ultimately, the way it's going about, all the families are making decisions around the world. It's time for us to do the same.
What's this evening? You mentioned something this evening.
There is going to be a event that's taking place at Triumph Baptist Church. There will be a airing of a presentation on should we black people separate?
Separate, right? Okay. Do you Triumph Baptist Church? What time is that?
People are getting in there about 5:30 or so. It's going to start about 6 or so.
All right, cool. Appreciate that. Thank you for your call, brother.
And definitely, Shamari, doing what you're doing, and Umar, I know you and I both, we take some real criticism. But guess what? We didn't do it for the love of us. We did it for the love of our people.
Ashe. And I'm going to keep on doing it. I mean, no choice at this point. Even if I had a choice, it'd still be this choice. Let's go to Sister Green. Greetings and good afternoon.
Hi, Brother Shamari. I just wanted to, I really want to say thank you to Brother Johnson. I enjoy his YouTube videos, and they're very inspiring. I just want to say yesterday was really a very sad day for us because, you know, like I said, this is plantation politics. And the reason why I'm saying it, because it seemed like our council people, particularly the one in our neighborhood, Councilman Johnson, seems like he wants to keep us on a plantation in terms of excluding us from different meetings. Down in our area, a lot of the white groups get selected to run the zoning meetings, to dictate the zoning developments in our area, and we have to stop that. That's how we're losing control of our community.
Who'd y'all run against them?
Well, that may be.
No, it's not that it may be. I mean, we go around the city. I told y'all before, y'all had 40 Negroes decide to run for council at large because nobody wanted to run directly against him. So when you act like a coward, you get a coward's result. I mean, and then we call and complain about the same thing over and over. Run against him. Get him out. Y'all keep telling me about voting and power, voting everywhere I go. I got to hear about how much I should vote and how much I should participate. Have enough heart to at least stand against the people.
We did try to get people to run. We did try to get people to run, and people didn't want to run in the second.
Then they want the pain. Enjoy it. I'm sorry, because everybody wants us to expend our capital on their cause, and I'm not talking about you, Ms. Green, because I know your work. So I'm not disrespecting you in any way. No, I just want to be very clear though, because everywhere I go, nobody ever asks me how I'm doing and how they can help me. Nobody does it. Let me take nobody because the crew of people that I have, so I'm gonna give them a shout out. Everywhere I go, the first thing people want to tell me is how I can help them. Everywhere I go. And they want to throw bones about being too black. And all I'm saying is, look, if it really mattered to you, he probably would have been the easiest dude to beat out of all of these mugs. The white people knew who they wanted to get out of here, and they came and they got Janie Blackwell. And to me, I hear you. I don't know what we lost. I know that what is coming might be worse. Nobody is running viable campaigns against the very people that y'all complain about. Y'all complain about Darrell Green. Y'all complain about Curtis Jones. Y'all complain about Kenyatta Johnson. Y'all complain about Janie Blackwell. Y'all complain about Cindy Bass. And yet and still, and I said this 2 years ago, run somebody against them. We'll figure out how to support that. But nobody has the courage to do that. And then they want to complain later.
$500,000 a lot from developers in his campaign fund, which is quite substantial. Okay.
It is, but how does a dude who's supposed to be anti-development get $500,000 from developers? So clearly, but when do we get mature? It goes back to the point, and I thank you for your call. It goes back to the point, but this immaturity and individualism, and it's like, my thing about it, y'all want us to put ourselves more on the line for people who ain't even ready to fight the fight that's right in front of them on their own terms. You always want Superman or who you see as Brother Man to come in and fight fights that we should be fighting and winning by now.
But remember this too, Brother Shamar. It goes back to what I said before about we don't want to take the risk or the responsibility, because if I run against them and I lose, I won't be able to proposition him for crumbs. So a lot of people would rather not run to keep getting the crumb.
Because my thing is, I'm behind. I know that that's true. And that's my thing. That's why I ain't let no politician come on my show. I have friends who were running. You ain't getting no airtime on here because, number one, you ran against the fight. You ran from the fight, man. Your fight is in your district against the same person she was just talking about. You call here, you crying about gentrification and Point Breeze and all these places, and then you run for council at large. And you want to come on my show and let me big you up when you was a punk and ran from the real fight. I ain't built like that.
Don't want to take a public stand.
And then you want me to do X, Y, and Z, but you ran from the rumble. So don't call and cry. Now, I ain't built like that, man. I'm at my boiling point, too. So I got, man, I'm
too afraid to take a public stand against a personality you don't support.
Rebecca, greetings and good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you both, and thanks for taking my call. Two things. He's saying that 2200 block is near Ridge. It's up around Dolphin, but that's my area of the city. I was raised in that area. But look, this brother's an educator. Please tell me what you think about this riddling that they're giving our kids in these schools.
Wow.
Does anybody know the side effects?
Sure we do. In fact,
I thank you for your call. I'm going to let him answer. But this is another one of the things, man. We've been talking, how long?
20 years.
How long this riddling
20
thing,
years.
man? And not only its effect, but as a gateway drug to deeper addiction. Come on, black people. I ain't letting black people hide behind ignorance no more.
I'm with you.
Claim your cowardice, but we can't act like we didn't know, man. We've been on the front lines. We even wrote books and articles, and come on, man.
Yeah.
We don't want to win.
Yeah, the Ritalin, which is pharmaceutically known as methylphenidate, is classified by the Drug Enforcement Agency in the same category as cocaine and opium. It's one of the most addictive substances and habit-forming substances that you can take. We're giving this to our children. It's only one molecule away from crack cocaine itself. It's in the same category with Adderall, Concerta, Metadate, Cyclert. They're all the same thing. Nothing but crack. That's all it is. And the side effects, the list doesn't end. Kill brain cells, schizophrenia, suicidal thoughts, homicidal ideation, stunts your growth, early baldness, Tourette's disorder, organ failure, heart attack, stroke, sexual dysfunction, heightened estrogen levels, blood disorders. I mean, the list never ends. It is amazing that a black parent would let a white person tell them that your child needs medication to get an education. And here's the point that I want to make, Brother Shamari. For the parents out there, and I hope you all come out on June 30th because I'm going to go into this very well. I need you all to understand, if you don't plan on drugging your child, you don't need an ADHD evaluation. It's killing me that you got parents who say, I don't believe in drugs, but I'm getting him evaluated for ADHD. Well, why do you think they want the label in the first place? To give them the medication. The only solution the school district of Philadelphia has for your ADHD boy is dope. If you don't believe in dope, you don't believe in ADHD. And by the way, ADHD actually stands for something else. Ain't no daddy at home disorder. Well, guess what? ADHD stands for something else. Artificial diet at home disorder. Well, ADHD stands for something else. Ain't no discipline at home disorder. And it stands for one more thing. Attachment disruption due to a home life dysfunction. Incarcerated fathers.
When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this because, you know, evidently Philadelphia is at the epidemic level as it relates to violence, and particularly gun violence. And, you know, our normal knee-jerk reaction is
bring in more police.
Bring in
Hire
the police
more white folks.
and get guns off the street. I'm not going to debate that. What I wonder, what are we not looking at? I can send to you that if you were to do a real research, you will find out that there's probably a link between the people who are killing people now, the music that they listen to, the drugs that they take, the legal drugs, the Ritalin, the diagnosis that we are giving our children, killing their mental capacity. And I guarantee you that if people were to do some forensic looking at who is pulling these triggers, you will find some commonalities. You will find some involvement probably with the DHS system at a very young age, either in juvenile justice or, like you said, disruptive family stuff through child welfare. You will likely find an inordinate amount of kill a nigga hip-hop music that they're programming their brains with, and some form of legal or illicit drug use, which for me includes the diagnosed Ritalins and other forms of that. I guarantee. Why is nobody saying, hey, let's look at that? Let's put it into that. Why are we complicit in our own destruction? I want to hear your thoughts on that when we come back. Stay tuned.
Get your money straight.
Get my money right.
With Solomon Jones and Akbar Hassan.
Fridays on Wake Up with Word.
7 a.m. till 10 a.m. Hosted by Solomon Jones. Exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Hey, Pico customers, how would you like to save energy and money and get $75 for that old working fridge or freezer in your garage or basement? Well, Pico makes it easy for you. They'll come to your home, pick it up, dispose of it responsibly, and give you $75. That's right, $75. Just schedule your pickup at pico.com/recycling or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE today. That's pico.com/recycling or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD.
It's Lights on Chester this Friday, June 21st at the MJ Free Theater in Chester, Pennsylvania. Join the festivities for a free arts and cultural festival celebrating the past, present, and future of Overtown. Be there to watch the entire Illuminate Chester film series and enjoy the complimentary hors d'oeuvres, entertainment, and networking with local business owners. The street celebration begins at 6 p.m. and the film screening begins at 7 p.m. RSVP today at pahumanities.org/lightsonchester.
You're listening to The Shamari Show, hosted by Brother Shamari on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Black Talk Media.
And welcome back to The Shamari Show. I think I took my pills, man, over the break. My Ritalin, I calmed down a little bit. Let me stop playing. Let's just jump right back to the phones, man. Keep the conversation open. And at the end of this, man, remind people about the upcoming event. So let's go to what line? All right, that's one. That's True. Let's go to True. Greetings, good afternoon. True going once. True going twice.
Hello.
All right.
Oh,
it's on you, True. Let's go.
It's interesting that they would use that term because I go by True to Truth, but my name is Treen Smith, and I was born to do this. I want to give honor to the triple black goddess, triple black darkness from which the force of light was birthed and brought forth, which the ancestors are moving through y'all two brothers right now. I am just so overwhelmed. You can't even imagine the anxiety that's running through me right now to be listening to this, to be on the other end of this line right now. And I'm just so overwhelmed. But I want to say this. I'm going to sit a bar real quick. I'm on that black supernatural superiority. In reality, a few of us strong make the majority. They tried to convince us that we was the minority. Fuck politics and all that shit. It's about supernatural superiority. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I want to.
I'm gonna give you one more shot. Let's go. Keep it going.
Yeah. Let me try that again. I'll have to use the curse word. I'm on that black supernatural superiority. In reality, a few of us strong make the majority. They tried to convince us that we was the minority. To hell with politics and all that. It's about that black supernatural superiority. Connected to the universe, the earth, the cosmos. Know your turf. Real power, wealth, and worth is knowledge itself. And on that, it's so much that I could say.
That was strong enough, my sister. I appreciate that.
Come on out. I'm going to let you spit on at the lecture. She can do something at the lecture.
Yeah.
You can open up at the lecture, Queen, if you want to.
I'm interested in coming to meet with you, Shamari. I'm going to see you down there at the event on the 28th. Brother Umar, I'll be at your event on the 30th. And I want to say this. I've been standing. I'm just so overwhelmed. But I wrote the governor some months ago about gentrification. I said, listen, the Committee on African American Affairs needs to be doing a research and study about how gentrification is affecting Philadelphia. Guess what they did? What they always do to people that just step forward, that are unafraid and unapologetic. And that's on the backdrop of what PHA and their role has done to me and my family.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. That's a whole other story.
Copious documentation, how PHA has affronted and assaulted my family. You call it, you said, I call it aggressive assault and displacement of black, brown persons, families, communities, and cultures. And like the brother Umar said, this is ethnic cleansing. But the ancestors got a people. The ancestors got a people. And I'm so excited. And I've been on a hiatus for a while. I got some stuff I got to regroup and re-engage. But I'm in the fight.
Well, we thank you for your call. We appreciate it, my sister. I appreciate it. And again, brother gave you an invitation. Look forward. Give you the space to really share. And this PHA thing, it's a whole... the assault is coming in so many different ways. And we're so busy trying to, what's that story about putting your finger in the dike and plugging holes and keep coming through? Mm-hmm. It's like, nah, man, we got to censor where we're going to be, who we're going to be, and what we focus on. We can't keep chasing issue after issue. We got to understand it's a coordinated apparatus, and you got to hit that joint right in the center. You got to hit it right where it needs to be, man. We playing right now. Hopefully,
and we operate in the context of fear, just like with the conversation about the politician not running against the people you know need to be put out. Why are you not running? Because you're afraid. You cannot
just
make changes in a culture of fear. Black people who have nothing to lose are the most fearful of losing something.
And we go to church where we supposedly got the power of Allah and Jesus and every spiritual system we in. And all that power on Friday evening or Sunday morning and Wednesday afternoon Bible study and the reinforcements and the missionaries on the street corner everywhere, and yet we scared of everything. We scared of water. We don't even know how to swim because we scared of water. But yet we got the power of Jesus running through us. Come on, man. Don't get me started. Woosah. Jacob, line 3, greetings. Good afternoon.
Hey, peace be unto you, Brother Shamari, and to you, Dr. Umar.
Jacob! What up, Baba?
Rumbling, my brother.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we got to do, brother. Look, I ain't scared. I ain't scared of nothing. You understand? I'm scared that we ain't going to do what we supposed to do as a people, and that is be in the vanguard of all this, you know. So, yeah, you was talking about that, the way they dope our children up, you know. And you'd be surprised, Umar, that it's still some of our parents that when they suggest to them to get them children drugs, they think, yeah, well, I was told that that's what I should do.
Yep.
Instead of giving them the love.
Yep.
And after about a year or so, one parent did say that she was thankful that she didn't go the route that they was trying to direct her to go, because after a while of us showing that young man love and
yes, sir.
and just accommodating him on what he wanted to say, what he wanted to do, man, he came around and now there's a model student. So,
wow.
You know, in some cases that thing worked, man. Instead of drugging them up, just give them some love.
In most cases, even in this gun violence situation, I tell people, like, what's the solution is the village. Solution to all of our ills right now is rebuilding the African village. If we do that, everything we're whining about corrects itself, because the village raises the child. We have to raise the village. We raise the village. We raise our people. We come together in unity because we raise the village. We protect the village. The answer is not police. It's not drugs. It's not whatever. The answer is, let's just build the daggone village. It's not even complicated. Thank you for your. Go ahead.
Jabari,
yes.
Y'all come mess around and make me change my name to Kunte.
Come back to the Egun. Jacob.
All right.
Let's go to line 4. Nabila, greetings and good afternoon.
Greetings and good afternoon to you both, the warriors.
Peace How you doing,
love,
my sister?
Peace and love.
Warrior sister as well.
Yes, and I ain't scared neither.
That's right. That's right. I done see you stand on many a thing, my sister.
I ain't never been scared. I'm too crazy to be scared. Listen, I'm a certified K-12 school counselor, so after 6 years of being out the system, I went back this year. In one of the most polluted schools that they have in this system that they keep promising they're going to tear it down and refurbish and blah, 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 whatever. So last Wednesday, I went on the bus trip up to Harrisburg to support full and fair funding for the schools. And while I was up there on the trip, a sister that I knew that I didn't know was coming, she's like a lead teacher, so she goes around and instructs teachers on how to perform. So she shared this with me, and it's about schools. We know that they tore down University City High School. We know they tore down William Penn High School. William Penn had a full Olympic-sized swimming pool and everything.
I was school psychologist at both of those. Yep.
The city pays, the school district of Philadelphia pays LaSalle thousands of dollars to let our children swim there when they tear down our own buildings. Okay, so now all year, Ben Franklin High School, which is one of the oldest buildings in the city, they took and cut it in half so that they could have a Ben Franklin side and a Science Leadership Academy side. So they have had those students and adults suffering in this building all year with asbestos, all kind of plumbing and plastering and whatnot going on in this building, just so that they could force their so-called, special class of students that go to SLA to have to share this building with Ben Franklin. Now, the white folks ain't going for that because they don't want their little precious babies in this rat trap, or used to be rat trap, with the natives from North Philly. It's just madness. So when the sister told me that, I said, why haven't the parents sued the school district? You got my child going to school every day in plaster rooms and, it's madness. So I just, when you all were talking about the condition of the schools and all, had to bring that to light. And I also wanted to ask Sister Trudy and anybody else listening to this program, when Brother Shamari and Dr. Umar teach, you have to get a book and a pen, and you have to listen to the lesson at least 3 times and take notes each time. It's too much to handle. One flying by night, listening in your car while you're driving all this now. No. If you're serious about education, take your education and take it properly. Take notes, rehearse, look up things you don't understand, and let's keep continuing to prosper. Thank you.
Appreciate you, my sister. And again, not everything is doom and gloom. And sometimes people say, you always focus on the negative. I do want to focus on the fact that, I was at a panel, and one of the things I was saying earlier is one of the things we got to do is unite our fights. Make no mistakes, black people are fighting. Now, sometimes we dilute our power because we segment our fights. So we got people who are doing gentrification. We got people who are fighting against mass incarceration, reentry,
or fighting against each other for who should lead the fight.
And one of the things I was saying about this incarceration stuff is, man, it'd be nice to have the brothers who are on the front line of reentry join with the people who are on the front lines of the policing stuff, because
sometimes they can't join, Samar. You know why? What's the number one reason why the grassroots organizations don't unite? Because they're fighting for the same not-for-profit crumbs from the same power structure. They're trying to fight the change.
And that is for many of our mainstream brothers and sisters. But I want to give a shout-out to my young people out there who are, like I said, have been on the front lines of this police abolishment stuff, man. There's some young, dynamic people who have been doing it without hook, without support, being left on the island off and putting their blood, sweat, and shout out to them. Shout out to the people who I say we should not forget in this fight against incarceration and reentry, and that is our political prisoners. So I just want to do a brief shout out to Eddie Africa, Home, MOVE member. And y'all know we've done a lot of conversations about MOVE and issues around MOVE.
Came home.
Yeah, Eddie Africa, two recently, and recently just today, Eddie Africa.
Came
after
home.
41 years.
Today.
Yeah, at 41 years. So shout out to Brother Gabe for making sure that I announced that to our listening audience, because sometimes we got to remember.
Yes, sir.
Everything's not. And that's the thing I also want to, I said this. White supremacy is reacting because we're moving. You know, they're in co-opt mode. That's why reparations is now a national conversation.
Yes.
Let's be very clear, because they're trying to figure out what can they appease us with. That's why they like, oh, let's talk about Juneteenth as a national holiday, because they're trying to pull us back, because they know that there's some energy. We're doing some work. You know, we need to do some more work and some bigger work and some better work. But trust me, this idea that black people across this globe are not moving, that somehow we're just apathetic and stagnant, that's why we're having this conversation, because we are moving, and we need to even move faster and more intentionally, and we got to clear out the black bourgeoisie. That's why I always talk about Crispus addicts. We got people right now who are deciding to be Crispus addicts on the side of white supremacy, jumping in the way of bullets and fights and struggles that they should not have anything to do with, but they want to keep jumping in the line of fire and getting in the way. And so that's why we're having this conversation, because if they would just move out the way, I ain't asking you to be revolutionary. I'm just asking you to move the heck out the way and stop taking the shot for massa. That's all I'm saying.
Don't block the progress.
So shout out to, again, the MOVE family, who's been a model of keeping your foot on the gas and never giving up and pushing forward. You're talking about decades of rumbling. So, again, shout out. Just wanted to make that acknowledgement. We got one more segment on the show. If you want to join our conversation, hit us up at 215-634-8065, toll-free 866-361-0900. When I come back, man, I'm going to jump right back to the phone line. So what I want you to do right now, shout out again the logistics on the event on June the 30th that you will be speaking at and coordinating.
No doubt. Dr. Umar Johnson, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, back in Philadelphia for the first time in 3 years at the World's Prayer Center, 2217 North 29th Street between Dolphin and Ridge. The Queen Mother said it's closer to Dolphin. I always look at the Ridge, but it's on 29th Street, 2217 North 29th. Next Sunday, very last day of the month, Sunday, June the 30th, 4 o'clock, doors at 3. If you're interested in being a vendor, we got some spots. Hit me up. All children are free, so bring them. All elders are free, also bring them. Tickets online or at the door, $20 a pop to help us fund the different programs that we're working on, including the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy down in Wilmington. DrUmarJohnson.com or 215-989-9858. Again, 215-989-9858.
So we're talking about being black in Philadelphia. Started to show off asking, what is your blackness? What is it that you're standing on? We kind of tiptoe around it. Our blackness has been diluted. As Malcolm said, we put so much cream in it that what once woke us up will now put us to sleep. We added some water. We added some water. We added a little bit too much sugar. You know, there's a little bit of everything going on in our coffee right now. It's time for us to get our coffee beans back in black. So if you have anything you want to contribute to our conversation, hit us up at 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-306-0900. We'll talk with you after these messages.
Brothers and sisters! Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you Word listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that Word 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag #OnWord.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Word family, is me, Solomon Jones, host of Wake Up with Word, and I want to see you on June 28th at the Wellness and Food Festival at the Fresh Grocer, 4160 Monument Road. It's going to be a blast. All of us are going to be out there. We want to see you, talk to you, and I'm going to have some of my books as well. So join us right there at 4160 Monument Road for the Wellness and Food Festival. And please, whatever you do, make sure you join the 4-Word movement today and get your membership or renew between now and June 28th to take advantage of our $75 early bird special. We'll see you on June 28th at the Wellness and Food Festival. Be there.
You're listening to The Shamari Show, hosted by Brother Shamari on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Black Talk Media.
And I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blickety black, 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 black.
This is the black episode right here on the Shamari. Oh man, this has been a little fun for me today. I ain't gonna lie. This is kind of like my element. A little what y'all call that in psychology, man? When somebody's high, manic depressive, is that still the same?
High and low, bipolar.
Yeah. That's me. So it's bipolar now. I like manic depressive. I like my highs and lows, man. I had a lot of them here on the Shamari Show today. It's what I do. It's my normal energy state. I just go with the flow, the energy that's in front of me. I honor it, and it is what it is. If I have to apologize to anybody, I'm shouting out my apology right now. But I think I was pretty good for most of the day. So tell me the order we're in right now, so I can make sure I get all these callers. One, Reverend Joe. Greetings. Good afternoon.
This is my beloved son, Dr. Umar Johnson, whom I'm well pleased.
Rev.
Hey, John, tell Brother Samar who you are, man. Tell him I'd raise you up.
Yes, indeed. Where you been, Rev?
Rev been around. Rev a soldier. I give him his credit.
We moved to a new place. He'll tell you where we're at. I need you to come on through. Dr. Samar, we raised that young. They wouldn't help him in his lab when he was in school. We told him to stick with it. And I'm saying he never had a lab partner. He'll tell you the story. They tried everything to do to keep him from getting a PhD, but he got it. And we love him.
That's what they do, sir.
Appreciate you, Doc.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Get my phone number from Brother
Miss Smith. Okay, I got you. I'm going to call you up, Rev. I ain't see you in years. I'm going to call you up. We got to break bread.
Yeah, hey, Rev, make sure he come out there and help us with this farm, too. You know, we need some young boys out there, man.
I'm with it.
Y'all got me as the youngest mug on the team, so since you raised them up, convince them to come out there and help me bale some hay.
I'm there.
Some greens from there the other day was great.
Wow.
All right, thank you, Reverend Joe. Let's go to line 3. Hannibal, greetings, good afternoon.
Hey, peace, man. How the brothers today?
Peace and
good.
I'm really glad to hear you guys talking about the things that you're talking about. But I think that there's one thing that we don't focus on. You know, there's one thing that most people don't focus on enough, and that's making money, man. We got to eat. And I think if we take care of that, then everything else is going to work out.
Just hold up. Give me some breathing room, Brother Hannibal. Let's talk about this, because you said most people don't talk about it, and I think that we talk about it too much. I think that we make deals with the devil based on survival and eating that compromise our principles on a daily basis. I think it's the biggest single issue that has prevented black people from winning, is that we so fixated on the dollar and survival and not the principle of power. So I think we talk about it all the time.
Well,
I think we use it as a reason not to do anything all the time.
I mean, but I hear you and what you're saying, but what I'm saying, the people that I deal with, the Robert Smiths, who gave the money to the gentleman at Morehouse,
right?
We green, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. I need you to help me.
Okay.
Help me understand what we're saying.
Let me help you understand.
I ain't seen a green person unless they was dead. So help me understand what that means.
Okay. I am black, like the show is for today, and I'm really digging that, right? But if you don't have substance to survive, I'm a soldier trained by the very white people that we complain about. I'm a logistics specialist. You understand?
Okay.
So I know how to set things up. I go in before the airborne, all that kind of
Got
thing.
you.
So what I'm saying, brother, is that there is an element of survival that has to be maintained at all times in order for you to have further productivity of being civilized.
Okay.
And the only thing that I'm saying is that I am a person who's about making money, and then from making money, we can go feed, like the brother Reverend said, the little boy only needed love, man.
Okay. All right. I hear you, sir. I hear that so much. I mean, I hear you, my brother. I got a lot of people to bring in. I hear this idea that we don't talk about money. That's all black people talk about. We use it as a reason to do or not to do mostly everything we do. You know how many people I went to school with and say I gotta go make money and then I'm gonna come back to the struggle. I ain't seen them yet. You know, so I'm
not down with black power. I'm down with green power.
Yeah, I don't understand when people say that. Even when people are talking radical about black power, the first thing they talk about is black economics, which I think is asinine, because you can't have an economy if you don't have a constituency. You can't have an economy if you don't have a community. I mean, go back and read Blueprint for Black Power. Economics is a function of psychology. You got to have a common collective psychology, at least amongst a set of people, to make a market. The buyers and the sellers have to agree about a price, which is a psychological determinant. They have to agree that I want what you have. I mean, come on. Tony, line 4. We playing, man. It's 2019. And we are still talking like a people who have no daggone idea of what it takes to be free.
Which is why we better have a more serious conversation about this reparations package, because you will get it and it will go through you to everyone else.
Like everything is going right now.
From it at all. In fact, I believe the Chinese will pay for the reparations of lawyers, because they know all that money is going to be at the weave shop, Mercedes-Benz house. Think about it. Without no community infrastructure and without a cultural consciousness, you will lose that reparations payout in 24 hours.
Let's go to Tony. Greetings and good afternoon. Woosah.
Brother Umar.
Peace and love, black man. I'm all right. I don't even know if I know Brother Tone. I know you, Brother Tone, but I know so many tones, I don't know which tone I'm talking to. What's going on, Bob?
Yeah, well...
Oh, Tone. My Tone. No, my bad, Tone. Oh, no, I know you is Tone. My bad.
What's up, brother?
I'm straight.
I'm ready for you.
You ready for the interview? The shockumentary, baby. This is going to be the documentary to end them all.
Right. I just wanted to do a shout out on the radio to let everybody know how deep you were in the studies at the Youth Study Center.
Yes, sir.
And how all the kids surrounded you and loved you for just letting them know who they were.
Yes, sir.
You know, their historical background and just you doing what you did, man. They loved you and they always looked up to you. As I do. We exchanged a lot of information back then, and
yes, sir.
I just appreciate you on this planet. I want you to continue doing what you're doing, and I support you 102%, brother.
Thank you, Brother Tom.
Shay. Let's go to our final caller of the day, Emmanuel. Greetings and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brothers. How are you today?
I'm good.
All right.
I just want to thank you guys for sharing the information that you share. And sometimes I even get disappointed and a little down because I think that people are not hearing the message, they're not receiving the message. But when I heard you brothers today, man, and let me tell you something. I call in everybody's show, and I get in just like that. Your show? Man, I've been trying to call in for an hour, so that means you guys are absolutely hot. And,
appreciate it.
And I think that you guys are on to something, right? You on to something really significant, which is you have to focus on the collective. You have to focus on the cooperative. You think about everything in life and history and the natural order of things, it works as a collective. You don't see a flock of birds talking about foods, everything around me, I got to get mine.
Right.
You don't see any, you think about the most powerful entity on the planet, they're corporations, cooperations. Everybody else gets that but us. And you guys are right on point that the reason, the answer, the antidote is the village. And the more you say that, if you say it enough times, then maybe it'll sink in. And I spend my life trying to get people to focus on the collective, the cooperative, the village. And the more you say that, because actually some of the stuff that you said, even though I say it, some of the stuff that you said gave me more ammunition to spread and share with people. So you keep doing what you're doing, but I beg you guys to keep focused on your key message, which is we need to learn to work together. We need to actually learn to cooperate.
That's right. Appreciate that, sir. And every Friday on the Shamari Show, in some way, I go back there. I've always been intrigued by the statement: it takes a village to raise a child. But what does it take to raise the village? That's the work. That's the kazi that we have to do. That's the kazi I'm committed to. And every Friday, that's what we're going to focus on. So, again, remind our listening audience, brother, about the upcoming event you have, and also about Tuesday, man. I really want some people, get out there, get their hands wet, dirty, whatever it is going to be, to actually, see the building, do some work, make a contribution, something that you can say, here, I cleaned that up, I painted that wall, whatever the work requires.
Definitely, everyone. There will be a cleanup day at the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy down in Wilmington, Delaware, Tuesday, June 25th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. More information, you can shoot me a text, 215-989-9858. But Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking for the first time in my hometown, in my home neighborhood of North Philadelphia. First time in 3 years, Sunday, June 30th, 4 p.m. Doors at 3 at the World's Prayer Center, 2217 North 29th Street. That's at Dolphin Street, between Dolphin and go a few blocks over Ridge. Y'all know 29th Street, 2217. Bring the children, they're absolutely free. Bring the elders, they're absolutely free as well. Everyone else, you can get your ticket at the door or online, drumarjohnson.com.
And I thank you for joining me here on the Shamari Show today. Again, man, any final words about this confluence of gentrification, mass incarceration, miseducation? Give some next step marching for the common parent, the common brother, sister in the village. Give something that we should be proactively thinking about or doing.
Three
to
things.
put our fingers on the pulse of this thing and know that we're doing something to stop this onslaught.
Three things. We got to start black credit unions. Black credit unions. We got to stop spending our money, and we got to start investing it into each other. We need credit unions. That's number one. Black Philadelphia spends $3 billion every Christmas. Those $3 billion, do you know how many schools you can build with that? That's at least 5 schools. That's at least 1 hospital. That's at least 1 supermarket. You understand? So we got to stop wasting our money, start investing in it. Number 2, we have to go to a homeschooling method to pull our children out, because if we let the European take their mind, we won't get it back. Frederick Douglass said it best: it's better to raise strong children than to repair broken men.
Right.
Okay, so help me with the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Definitely the Philly children could come there. And the third thing that we have to do is we have to go back to the study group movement. YouTube, Facebook, social network have have killed the study group movement. The benefit of the study group is it allowed us to get to know each other and to consolidate collective consciousness. There's no way to consolidate collective consciousness no more because we gave up the study group for social network.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny because I hit on these three things. Shout out to Baba Ron and the good people at ASCAC and holding that idea, the study group. Because again, like you said, it creates village. At the end of the day, your schools, these are places where people aggregate, parents as well as children. They come together around a common curriculum. If you control that curriculum, you're creating community right there. Economy, community.
Yes.
Information, study groups, community. Yes. At the end of the day, if we just remember that we're black, if we honor the blackness and create community around it, we will be free. The key to black life, liberation, independence, freedom, and empowerment is to value your blackness and create community around it. Our work is real simple. We just got to decide to do it. I'm Eric Keith Grimes, Brother Shamari. Shamari Show next week. Peace.
This is a rhythm, a warrior's rhythm, victorious rhythm, a glorious rhythm. You hear it, you feel it, it's there in the spirit, it's there in the lyric, don't ever compare it. The beat of the cradle, defeating the label, the people are able to eat at the table now. Divided by cheddar, we gotta get better, united together, we tighter than ever now.